Hi, nice to see everybody popping up on the screen. Thanks for joining us. This is so exciting. I'm here with a long-term friend of mine. Actually, Jess and I have known each other for a good long time, almost 20 years. Is it 20 years? Almost 20 years. And so we're long-time friends, and we're just so excited to be here talking about my very first ever collaboration with the amazing Beauty Pie. My eyeshadow palettes. And so thank you all for joining me, because I want to take you all on a bit of a journey on how and why I created the palettes. And of course, the most important thing, how you at home are going to get the best out of your James Molloy times Beauty Pie eyeshadow palettes, because I know that you've got lots of burning questions. And one thing that I'm super passionate about is sharing tips and tricks on how to create beautiful makeup looks, obviously. And we'll be taking you on a bit of a journey through all three palettes, because they all have kind of different personalities. If you've got your hands on the palettes at home already, you'll know that we've gone for three very definite colorways. There's the gold, there's the silver, and then there's the rose gold. And so with Jess this evening, I want to take you through a few steps. Of course, we've come camera ready. So Jess and I have taken, actually, before we talk about the eyeshadows, let's talk about this amazing complexion, because we've discovered some absolute firm favorites from the Beauty Pie collection. I'm going to take you through skincare, because I know Beauty Pie are famous for their skincare. We went really lightweight with the triple hyaluronic acid,
which I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, so Jess is going to give you a close-up look. So Jess won't mind me telling you, you know, she's a very beautiful-looking 35-year-old mum of two, always working, very busy girl. And you know, she just likes her skin to be like glowy and youthful. And you know what I'm feeling with this texture of complexion with the foundation? It will work for everybody, you know, no matter what age you are, no matter what skin tone. It really is a very sheer veil of beautiful foundation. So this is the one we've used, the Everyday Great Skin. So Jess is a shade 350.
Cashew.
She's cashew, which you've got quite a golden undertone actually.
Yeah. When I put it on my skin, I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's really, we only use a tiny amount. And so, you know, I'll touch on the skin just briefly. We did like a pea-sized amount and just blended that all over Jess's skin. And you might be wondering what that gorgeous glow on the cheeks is. Well, we used some of the Fresh Faced cream blush. I'm a huge fan of cream blush. Again, I think it works on everybody. It gives you that youthful glow really instantly. And this shade, when we've used on Jess, is Fresh Faced, the Super Cheek in shade Fresh Faced. It's a gorgeous little peach tone. And then we finished with some bronzer. You've got the bronzer there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this as well. Here we go. And it has like a gorgeous gold spray over the top.
And so this one is called Ain't No Sunshine. So if you're just wondering about the complexion, I had to talk to you about it. It's absolutely stunning. Yes, people are saying they love the cream blush, and there's different tones. So as we change up Jess's eye makeup, we'll be changing up the cream blush as well, just to show you how you can kind of mix and match your makeup style to match your eyeshadow look. Okay, so I have done a little bit of eye makeup first on Jess. So I'm using the gold palette, the 003. So Jesse's just going to lean in for you. Okay, a great tip, you know, if you are using this palette for the first time, a great way to navigate the palette is when you see them, you have two base shades, and these are very velvety and very matte. So when I was creating the palettes, I really wanted to make sure that the matte felt like cream. I think sometimes, you know, perhaps when you're getting a little bit older, you might shy away from matte eyeshadow, but what I wanted to do with these mattes is make sure that they are super fine and really jet milled. So when you apply them on your eyes, they're actually super forgiving, and they just blur any kind of fine lines, and they just give you the softest base. So you have two mattes, you have a lighter one and a deeper one, then you have a frosted shade. So if you're feeling like you want to smoke in your lash line a little bit, you can apply a little bit into the lash line, and then you have a highlighting shade. So all three palettes have this same configuration, so it's really easy to map it out. I didn't want you to look at the palette and go, okay, where does this go? Where does that one go? It kind of is like a step 1, 2, 3, and 4. What about for a youngish 50-year-old? Well, listen, I applied this on my 72-year-old mother-in-law, and she just looked insane. Top tips on how to get the most out of the palette. So let's go straight in. I'm just going to give you like a brief overview of how I applied the 003 palette. So I'm taking this brush here. It is the Perfect Eyeshadow Base. And what you don't want to do when you apply your eyeshadow, you load up your brush, is overload it. Don't apply too much product, because then you're going to end up with fallout. So, just dip your brush maybe 2 or 3 times. And then you're going to go with kind of pressing motions. And you can see when I'm pressing that over Jess's lid, how smooth it is. I think the temptation is when you're doing your eyes, and I don't know if you'll agree, you want to kind of go in and start swiping back and forth, back and forth. I find sometimes that doesn't let you build up the shadow. So when I go in with this base tone, and this is beautiful on its own, you can just wear this on its own with lots of mascara, and that's your look. You don't have to wear all 4 shadows all of the time. And just by pressing it, you're getting a very soft base. Now, what's left on the brush here, looking up, Jess, I can just take what's remaining on the brush and just wrap it underneath those lower lash line, that lower lash line. And because the color's so neutral, it just softens the edge of your eyes. And actually, with a neutral like this, it really opens your eyes up. So it's a great way to give your eyes a soft shape, whether you wear glasses, whether you wear contacts, and you just want your eyes to pop a little bit. This little tone here is perfect.
It's a perfect everyday color. I use it all the time.
It's a perfect little everyday color, exactly. Next step, we're going to use a slightly smaller brush. This one is the contouring brush. So we're going to go into the deeper tone just here. And now a classic way to do your eyes is just to take a small brush like this and apply a little bit. And again, the temptation is here to start blending outwards. What I find, if you blend outwards, you can start to bring your eyeshadow down, and it changes the shape of your eyes. What you really want is to keep it quite tight and blend in. You can see I've got quite a hooded eye. If I was applying this on my eyes, I would press the brush here and I would blend inwards instead of outwards. Because if I were to blend it outwards, I'm going to end up with this shape, and we're kind of avoiding that. So I'm going to demo this on Jess for you. We'll press it here, and then turn Jess. We're going to just move it back into the eye. Those 2 colors together, they're going to give you a really soft, super easy little smoky eye. So if you want to go a little bit more, perhaps you want to kind of change your makeup from day to night. And I think that's one of the questions I get asked most. How do I pump up my eyes for the evening, but still feel wearable and still feel really comfortable? That's where the little frosted shade comes into play. So we're going to take the same brush, super simple, take the same kind of style brush, which is like a little pencil brush shape. And this time we're just going to wrap it underneath Jess's lower lash line. So one thing I really learned quickly when applying makeup on clients, again, no matter what their eye shape is, just make sure that you have soft edges to your application. I never overload the brush with too much product. And you'll find with these eyeshadows, that Italian quality is so amazing that you get the pigment. You don't have to keep building and building to get the payoff from the color, because the quality is just so amazing. And that was something I was really passionate about. I wanted to make sure that anybody who bought the palettes felt really comfortable, and you knew exactly how how to use them, and you'd always get a great payoff. So lastly, we're going to use a fingertip. Fingertips are good too. Now this shade is a dream. It's it looks quite white in the pan, but when you get it onto your skin, it has the most beautiful, can you see it in the light? It's like sunshine in an eyeshadow. And so with this one, if you feel like you want to just add a little highlight to your cheeks, you can do that. You can pop it on your brow bone or just in the center of your eyes. And I'm just going to use my fingertip. Close, yes. And literally, it almost feels like a cream highlighter again.
It goes on really well with your fingertips as well, doesn't it?
Super well with the fingertips. Perhaps if you have more of a hooded eye shape, you want to avoid too much frost or too much shine on your lid. But that doesn't mean that you can't wear a nice highlighting shade just underneath the brow bone. I always think when I'm applying makeup to a client or thinking about how to map out an eye, the shine will always bring that part of the face forward. So just by popping a little bit on top of Jess's brow bone there, it's looking super pretty. And then literally what's remaining on my fingertip, you can just take that.
I love this trick.
And just highlight the cheekbone too. So I'm feeling like the gold. I started with the gold because I know it's coming up to summertime. Everybody wants to kind of wear these gorgeous little sunshine shades. This is like a foolproof, always has to be in the handbag makeup, eye makeup. And actually, I'm just going to show you. This is my gorgeous, my mother-in-law, Chris. And I used the gold on her the other day, and you can see I'm highlighting her brow bone using the gold.
It looks amazing.
And all around her eye, I started with the matte shades and just kept it really soft. There's 2 matte shades around here and then a little pop of highlight. And listen, Chris loves her glam. You know, she's not scared of a bit of makeup, but just giving her that kind of confidence to wear matte eyeshadows and frost, she felt super happy.
There was a lady asking before about the primer, and I forgot to say we used the primer first, didn't we?
We used the primer.
Had the primer on as well.
So what we're going to do now, Jess is going to take off the gold palette, and then because I want you guys to see all 3 of the eyeshadow palettes, from here we're going to do 1 eye in the silver and 1 eye in the rose gold. So while Jess is de-makeuping, I'm going to talk you through the other 2 palettes. Okay. First of all, I need to say, when these first arrived in my studio and I saw the packaging, I was literally blown away. Like, it's such a dream come true. I even got my signature in there as well. So super happy with that. So the next shade I'm going to talk to you about is the 001. This is the silver palette. So it's interesting when you talk about silver. I feel like gold, a lot of people kind of, they understand gold, you know, that they know that it probably is going to suit them. It's a nice warm tone. But I really wanted to do an interesting take on a silver eyeshadow. I wanted to make this palette, the silver, quite warm. So you'll see. I mean, I'm calling it silver. It's more of like a minky, like a beige silver. And again, it's that same map out as well. So you have a really easy to use all over base tone. You have this gorgeous like mink dove gray here, which is slightly deeper. So listen, this is going to be great if you have blue eyes, hazel eyes, green eyes. This is going to be super complimentary. Everybody can wear it, but it's particularly nice on those kind of eyes. Like my eyes are quite hazel, and I would probably be leaning into wearing the silver palette. Then you have that frosted shade again. You can see if you want to get adventurous and go a little bit more smoky. And then exactly the same as the gold, you have the highlighting shade here. Again, this really isn't an eyeshadow palette to be afraid of. It's a very muted, like if you think about your wardrobe, if you're drawn more towards like beiges and grays and those kind of slightly colder tones, this is going to be amazing for you. If you like a bolder lip, perhaps you like more like a berry stain on your lip, then this kind of palette works amazingly with a berry stained lip. Okay, Jess, that was quick. Oh God, she's so quick at taking her makeup off.
This is one of my faves, by the way, the grey, silver, sorry, I was going to call it grey then. I used this the day they came out, and I love all the tones in there, and they are minky, and they just look really beautiful on all skin tones. It's a really wearable palette. And
the thing is, Jess is quite golden, you know, she's quite tan. I also applied this on a gorgeous, like a deeper skin tone girl, and for the visuals I created, and it worked really amazingly. And so last but not least is the rose gold palette. So let's have a little moment for this packaging. Ooh. So this one, it's got that beautiful like rosewood undertone. So I'm calling it rose gold, but really when you look at the tones, there's like a soft cranberry in there. There's a much more of a like a richer tone neutral, and then the highlighter is a very sheer light light pink. So if you want to add a little bit of freshness to your makeup, you know, we are coming into spring here in the UK. I feel like this is a gorgeous palette for that kind of like fresh season, when you just want a little bit of glow on your lid and you want like a little bit of pink. I feel like pink always kind of lifts everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like we love a little pink. And again, you know, if you're thinking what you could wear this with, of course you can always do a nude lip, but I'd be kind of swayed to go a little bit more down that kind of brick tone. You know, that lip is really in at the moment, where it's a little bit more kind of like earthy. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's.
I've not worn that one yet, so I'm excited.
So Jess is going to get a little deep dive into this. We're going to start with the palette 001, the grey, and I'm going to talk you through from priming to how to kind of navigate this palette. So first up, let's do some priming on the lid.
And we used the primer before as well. I forgot to say.
You know, I think priming is one of those things. I do it all the time as a makeup artist, and I know, especially if you're going out, you prime your lids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this primer is gorgeous. It's brightening as well.
It's a bit of a 2-in-1. I love this primer because yes, it brightens your eyes, but also it makes sure that when you're applying your eyeshadow on top, the eyeshadow locks onto this base, and you don't get any dragging and you don't get any patchiness. And again, you know, if perhaps you're not an eyeshadow pro, you literally do not have to be a pro at eyeshadow when you're using a primer like this. So I'm going to show you how much I use. I'm going to prime both lids, and it literally, for Jess, we're just going to do a little swipe, this and this. And that's literally enough to prime your entire lid. Now, 2 ways of blending it in. You can use your fingertip. I always like to use kind of the finger with the least pressure on it. And you can see how it quickly it blends into the lid. So don't be tempted to apply too much. I feel like with this kind of product, you know, one little swipe and make sure that it's sheer. Again, you know, if you're finding that perhaps your eyeliner is creasing and it's transferring, or your mascara, you find it always transfers on your lid, having a primer like a base underneath that really helps to keep your eyeshadow true, and it keeps your lids really kind of smooth and your makeup kind of more perfect, which is what we all want at the end of the day. Okay, let's have a look at the before and after. So I can't stress enough, a little bit of this primer goes such a long way, and it has a beautiful, almost kind of like feel to it, like it feels like it wants to grab the eyeshadow. It's definitely not glossy or wet. It just feels like a solid base for an eyeshadow. So if you don't use your fingertips, this is a great multi-purpose brush for everybody. Like, don't be afraid that if you feel like it's a little bit too large as an eyeshadow.
It feels super lightweight, this primer, you know.
Yeah. So what I like to do with this eyeshadow brush is working kind of more like pressing motions and then sweep. Once you have the blend, you can sweep, sweep, sweep. Just so you have that nice even tone. I tend to go a little bit more coverage on the lid. I think that's really important, you know, because that's where the most of your eyeshadow will be, right on the lid. So I have a little bit more coverage here. And then with the rest, you know, just what's left on your brush, you can just sweep it again. Okay, eyelids primed, that step is done. If you want to kind of go off, you know, do something else, start to kind of work on your base, this primer is a great way, you know, once that's on the lid, it's always going to stay ready for eyeshadow. So, you know, I like to do all of the basics first and then go in with the product, the eyeshadow. So, as I said, let's use the silver palette. Same brush, same primer brush again. You know, we're not over confusing it. We're going to keep it really simple. And we're going to start with this beautiful mid-tone. It's like a soft taupe, shade. And I'm just loading on my brush about this much eyeshadow. And then Jess is going to lean into me. Same kind of technique. So this shade goes all the way over the lid. You know, if perhaps you like a little bit more of a brightening lid for the daytime, you want something that just feels really clean, you can just add loads of mascara. This is a great base just to wear on its own.
Looks really silky and smooth.
Couple of little brush techniques here. For the lid, where I'm building it up, I'm pressing, almost like a stippling motion. And then for the rest of the eye, I'm just going to smooth that out. So you can see how it's changed, it's softened everything. And I keep going back to that idea of, you know, perhaps you're maybe afraid of matte eyeshadows. These are super forgiving. You know, if perhaps you have a little bit more texture on your lid, don't worry about it. Honestly, as soon as you start to smooth this out over the primer, it kind of acts like a soft focus blurring effect. It really just softened the eye area. So that's one of my faves. I'm in love with this shade. So next up, let's give Jess a little bit more of a smoky lash line. I think, again, and Jess is a makeup artist too, and I feel like one of the most asked questions we've ever gotten is how to do a smoky eye.
Always.
Still to this day, everybody's obsessed. Eyeliner and smoky eyes. So we're going to answer both of those questions for you. Let's first of all go back to our pointy brush. This one is a double-ended brush. So it's a little bit more of a detailer here, which we can line with. And then we have this pointy tip. And this one is the Shape and Smudge eyeshadow. So you can see just the name, it's telling you exactly what we're going to achieve here. Okay, so somebody's asking, will the eye primer be available in the US? Actually, Beauty Pie will answer it, but also the concealer works as an incredible eye primer too. So, you know, if you can't get hold of the primer, definitely try the concealer.
Which I'm also wearing, and it's gorgeous.
Okay, next up, we're going to dip into this mink. It's another matte, but it's a much more kind of like a smoky mink tone. I think the temptation when you're creating a smoky eye is to take the darkest color in your eyeshadow palette and go, you know, you go straight into here and start to blend away like crazy. My best tip that I ever learned as an artist, and I love to share it, is start really close to the lash line, first of all. So taking the tip of the brush, you're going to start really close to the lash line and just work back and forth, back and forth. So this will do a couple of things. It's going to start to make your lashes look thicker, which is always a good thing. But it's also going to give you the feel of a smoky eye without ever looking like, you know, you've got too much eyeshadow on. So open up for me a second, Jess. So see the difference, you know, as soon as we start to smudge in that eyeshadow,
See it there.
it really, it's giving us smoky, but it's giving us soft smoky. And I feel like that's the biggest difference. And again, just going back to the pigment payoff in the shadow, you only need such a tiny amount, you know, so each time I'm just dipping the tip of the brush, one dip into the product is enough to kind of get the smoky going. There's again. And it's interesting with Jess, you know, you're a bronzy girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
You always go bronze and slightly warmer tones, but I feel like we've kind of converted you into this.
I love this palette. It's my favorite. I can't tell everyone about it.
And a good tip. So at this point, even if you're not a blending expert, do not worry about it at all. We're going to move from our small pointy brush to our larger. You know, this brush I keep using, I'm using it for everything. You can take a clean brush, no shadow on it, and you can just blend over the entire eye. And that just takes any of that kind of the hard lines away. So great tip, always have a clean brush handy just to do your invisible blending. And it will just move the product that's already on the eye around and just soften the edges of everything. So perhaps you're feeling like you want a little bit more of like a crease line. If you want to do that, we're going to stick with the large brush and just apply the shadow right onto the very tip. Don't be tempted to kind of dip sideways like this because you'll have too much product. Just on the very tip. And so with Jess looking down, we're just going to start again on my tip. Remember, blend inwards is always the best way to do it. And softly define the outer corner. And you can see it again, I'm using very little product because I want that shape to appear gradually, not instantly. Mm-hmm. And again, you know, I've seen so many times where people kind of go in with a super dark shadow, they plop it on with the eyeshadow brush and they try to blend it away like crazy. And then sometimes you give up because you've got too much eyeshadow on. Again. Wipe it off and start again. We're not doing that tonight. Absolutely not. So we're doing baby steps, little by little. Press on the color. You can see, you know, press it on where you need to do it, where you want it to be. It makes sense, right? And then just gradually blend it out. You know, it's a soft smoky. Again, you know, if I've got quite hooded eyes, but I would, if I was applying this, I'd tip my head back, I'd place the brush where I want the color to be, and then I'd work inwards until there was nothing left on the brush. You know, it still has a little bit of product, so I could still blend with it. And then circular motions, I like circular motions give me a finish. Mm-hmm. You know, I do this when I want to build, and I spin the brush like a circular motion when I want to soften everything out. Gorgeous, you know, she could team this up with more like a pinkish blush. It would be super pretty. But let's use the other side of this brush, yeah? So we're going to flip it around. So this brush, you could use it in a couple of different ways. It's quite flat. You can see how flat it is. So automatically that tells me that it wants to fit underneath the lash line, yeah? We're going to pop into the frosted shade. And it's really nice if you know you connect your top smoke to your lower smoke. So Jessie's just going to lean in for me. And this time I just want her to look up. And we're just going to slot that brush. See how it fits so nicely underneath that lower lash line. And just wrap it around here. Okay, guys. People with hooded eyes, I'm one, absolutely. If I were to wear an eyeliner, this is how I'd want it to be achieved. I would wrap dark around the upper and lower corner of my eye to give the illusion of a lift and the illusion of a bit of like a soft smoke. Eyeliner doesn't always have to be liquid. You know, I think there's probably 10% of the population that can just whack on a liquid liner and it looks great and good for them. We love that liquid liner, but also there's lots of us who could never. And that's just the truth, okay? So with Jess, we're going to just tease out that smoky eyeshadow with the tip of the brush. And you really want to aim from the corner of your eye. You know, just from the last lash. And it's going to give you a soft little wing. Okay, and we know Jess has got beautiful eyes, beautiful big eyes. We love that, but again, you know, me.
Such a good trick though, isn't it?
It gives you the idea of a flick, right? But it's not, it's taking all the scare out. Yeah. So I would be going, I'd look down and I would place that brush right on the corner and I tease it here and tease it there. And I might even get my fingertip and just do that and just give it a little flick, you know? So yeah, soft wing. And to finish off, we're going to dip our fingertips in the frosty shade. Again, a gorgeous, it's not a silver, it's not white. It's like a pewter, and you see how pretty it is in the lights. It's a real pewter, muted silver. It's definitely not like a white silver, so don't feel like it's, you know, it's going to be too garish and too strong, because it's actually super pretty. Actually, I'm going to use a brush for this, Jess, because I'm feeling this little brush. Let's take a tiny bit, and you know what better than with a smoky eye than to just pop a little bit of highlight on the inner corner. You know, these makeup tricks are classics for a reason. You know, they always work and they always look great to brighten the eye, to give you a little bit of a lift. And then you can take the other end and just soften it out.
What a handy little brush as well.
Yeah, we're like a little do-it-all brush. You know, you can pretty much do, if you like the idea of a smoky eyeliner, then this is definitely the brush for you. Isn't it interesting how you can take a shadow palette that actually, when you first look at it, you feel like you're just going to get like a full-on dark smoky eye. But when you think about what goes where and how to kind of make the most of it, you actually can get something that is really refined and almost more natural. So don't feel like with the silver, we love it, but don't feel like you have to always do a big smoky eye. You can do it, obviously, if you want, but don't feel like that's the only look you can get from this one. It's the 001, the silver. Oh. Sophie's going to try tomorrow. Okay, Sophia's going to try tomorrow. So yeah, I know we'll see it as well. So, okay, guys, let's wrap up this eye makeup masterclass with, last but not least, it's also a favorite. It's the rose gold palette. Let me just get it. So this one is the 002. Just going to give it a little polish. 002. That lovely kind of rosewood. I keep going back to that tone because it feels like it's natural, but it has this kind of rose undertone. Super pretty. And you guessed it, it's the same way to map. You have a soft neutral, you have a deeper neutral, you have a slight frost, and then you have this beautiful, beautiful highlighting shade. So I focused a lot on the mattes with the other applications. If you're a fan of a bit of shimmer and a bit of sparkle, we all are. We all like a little bit of glam. This time I'm going to start with the highlighting shade and show you how you can use that as the main tone all the way over your lid. So obviously the lid is primed. I'm going to use my fingertip. You know, I'm going to keep it simple. So you'll notice when you touch the highlighter. Oh, thanks for the follow, Maureen. Everybody. Thanks, Maureen. Appreciate that. So I'm going to start with my fingertips. And we're going to press this all the way over Jess's lids. You know, focusing more on the main part of the eyelid, you know, the super pretty. And you can see I'm trying to find the best way to describe this shade. And I guess it's almost like a ballet slipper pink, you know, that very kind of soft baby pink with a little shimmery undertone. So this will be my main tone for Jess. For those of you who can't stay away from the shimmer, you could even wear that on its own. Yeah. You know, it's one of those that literally, I love it when makeup looks like you're really clever at doing makeup, but actually all you did was tap something in with your fingertip and it already looks pretty. Okay, back to the brushes. We're going to take this guy again. So this is the Pro Eyeshadow Blending Brush. And this time I'm going to go in with the frosted shade, that deep cranberry. Somebody's saying, getting on a bit, aren't we all? Always a bit wary of shimmer. I think, you know, again, and I'll go back to the gorgeous Chris, you know, she 72 and she still rocks that shimmer, but she does it in the right place. She does it underneath the eye bone. She does it a little bit on the inner corner. Perhaps she doesn't wear it all over her lid. So there definitely are ways to wear shimmer because, you know, shimmer's glam. You know, it catches the light, it lifts the face. So, you know, perhaps you wouldn't wear it all over the lid, but you could definitely wear this just kind of knocked underneath the the brow bone. So we'll take the cranberry shade and we're going to do a little bit more of like a classic sculpted eye with this. And it's interesting because we have that shimmer base on, when I apply this frosted cranberry shade over the top, the two blend together really, really prettily and you start to get this, you know, the two merge and you get this softer version of a cranberry. And again, you know, I was really definite about the textures when I was deciding on the frosted shades. I wanted them to, again, feel almost like cream. and just be really pretty to wear. So step 1, step 2, we did a little bit of a base. And then to finish, I'm going to dip into the deeper tone. It's like a mulberry. Like, I think mulberry is a really great way to describe it. And we're going to use a little angle brush this time. So I guess this is probably a brush that you're quite familiar with. You know,
Very louder.
I think we're going to hit mute. Awesome. So we're going to use this little angle brush this time and dip it right into this mulberry shade here. Eyelining. The second, we're going to look at this in a slightly different way this time. So if you're not used to using one of those rounded tipped eyeshadow blending brushes, perhaps you're familiar with something like this. The temptation with these is to kind of hold your eye and try and do it in one swipe. And you might be able to do that first time, but also I'm going to show you a way to make it a lot easier and a lot more forgiving. So dipping it in the deepest tone, I'm just going to ask Jess to lean in a little bit. And we're going to do the stamp technique. Sure. That's all right. You know, so we're going to press and stamp the brush all the way along the lash line. And what happens then is you get all of the benefits of, you know, that line, but it's so much easier to do. Again, if I were to do this at home, I'd probably kind of rest my hand on a dresser or something and just flip the brush and just stamp, 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 stamp all the way along. And again, you're getting the feel of an eyeliner without having to be, you know, a graphic eyeliner expert. And then when you get to the corner, it's always a good tip. Turn your brush around so the pointed side is facing outwards. It's a really good tip to get the best from your eyelining brush. And then we're just going to stamp it until we have a nice little shape. So again, you know, one size doesn't always fit all. You know, you can try your different technique. I tried when I first started doing makeup, and I'm sure you're the same, Jess. You find your own style, don't you? You know, you see what works for you. You might love matte, you might love frost, you might like soft big brushes, or you might like small detailing brushes. Everybody's different. Oh, somebody's saying they have the rose gold. I'd love to hear. You got so many compliments. Hopefully, yay! Are the palettes suitable for all? To the rest of the message. Let's have a quick look. 100%. Yeah. I really made the point of all of these palettes being suitable for any skin tone. You'll notice if you look on my Instagram, I work with a gorgeous girl, Monet, who's a beautiful, rich, deep tone. And then I also worked with a girl who's pretty fair as well. So that was my number one thing, that they had to be suitable for all. And that's why you'll find in the palette, there's nothing there's no shocker shades or like too bright or too glittery. Everything's just really super classic, but in a most modern way. And I guess they're made modern because of the textures. Yeah. You know?
I feel like I've got a split personality.
I'm just going to do a little blend. Thanks. Yeah. Okay, so let's kind of accessorize both of these eyes a little bit differently. So we started with the grey on this side. So again, you know, it's quite nice to know what to wear. If I'm wearing like a soft grey eyeshadow, what it would do with my skin, what can I wear on my lips. So first of all, we're going to switch up the blush on Jess's cheeks. This one is Universal Pink. And again, I'm going to use my fingertip. So with a cool tone like this, I like to team it with something a little bit more a bit more fresh, a bit more pink, because, you know, that cool undertone of a pink really is flattering when it comes to wearing like a grey eye. Like that little combination there is really gorgeous. And top tips, if you've never really tried cream blush before, I like to start on the center of the cheekbone. So, and I'll just pop like a blob. You know, you don't have to be like an amazing blender in the beginning. I'm just going to ask Jess to lean in a little bit. A little blob on the center of the cheek, and then I like to work in little circular motions outwards until you get that perfect little dispersion of color. And it's interesting with the super cheek. It's creamy, but it also feels like velvety. It's like a soft cream. It's not like a sticky. It doesn't stay wet. And you can also take the palm of your hand and just pat, 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 blend it in. Good. So you can see now with this grey eye, you can really go for that cool tone palette. Soft pink cheek, you know, you could even take a little bit of this and just stamp it on your lip, you know, if you wanted to brighten up the color. Jessie's wearing no mascara, by the way. I'll put mascara on her in a second. And on the other side, there is like, I really want to focus on a berry tone, because I feel like, you know, with this like soft pinky tone and that kind of cranberry through the lid, you can definitely rock a berry tone cheek. So this one, when you first open the lid, you might feel like it looks a little bit deep, but don't be put off by that at all. That's just like such a lovely pigment. And then with my fingertips, same kind of application, press it on, and you can really shear that down, you know, so you can go from something that looks quite rich and quite deep, and you can shear it down to the lightest little natural blush tone. You know, you can see how that one's got a little bit more of an earthiness to it. So, you know, you can do a pop of pink, you can do something more earthy. You know, if you're feeling brave, you can absolutely build this up to like more of an intensity, but I just feel like it accessorizes the face. You feeling like you've got a split personality, Jess?
I love it though. Who should I be?
Okay, guys, so we've talked a lot about lining the shadow with my palettes. Sorry, lining the eyes with my palettes. But, you know, if you do want to feel like, if you do want to finish your eyes with a black flick of liner, you know, if that's your thing, then this is the pen to do it. So this is the Beauty Pie. It's the Deluxe Precision Liquid Liner. It's got one of those great felt tip pen nibs. So I'm just going to line Jess's eye here. And again, you know, if you are trying this kind of liner for the first time, don't be nervous with it. The good thing to do is stamp it across your lid first, you know, from corner to corner, we're going to stamp. So I don't use the point of the brush in the beginning, I stamp it flat ways. So let me show you what I mean. Stamp, turn the pen around and stamp it. What I love about this particular pen is that it's jet black and it stays put. Like it really does stay on there. So you don't always have to wing your eyes. Perhaps you just want like a thicker looking like lash line. You want your lashy line to look really dark, almost like a tight line. This is a great way to do it. You don't always have to wear a flick. You can just stamp it across the top of your eyes and it will still give you that illusion, you know. Again, you don't always have to flick. But if you do want to flick your eyes, I always like to pop a little, like a dot where I want my liners to finish, like a tiny little dot with the eye open. So we're just going to do baby flicks with Jess today. And close me. Then with the pen outwards, I let the pen shape do all of the work for me. I put it on and then just drag it back into the eye. And that way you get a perfect little flick without the drama.
Gorgeous. Even looks like a little double flick, doesn't it?
Oh, Claudia, thank you, Claudia. Gorgeous. Again, you know, makeup is all about options, and I keep saying it. And, you know, with the palettes, you know, whether you're feeling silver, whether you're feeling rose gold, whether you're feeling gold, it's all about getting those options, you know, to play. So we love them. What do you guys think? Are you enjoying? Okay, I'm going to give Jess some mascara because she's a mascara lover. And then we're going to take some questions. So I'm using this mascara. It is the Uber Volume Boost. Uber Volume Boost mascara. And if you're anything like me and Jess, then you like mascara with, you know, a real brush, a proper mascara brush, you know, with all of those great little fibers that really catch your lashes. So the best thing I like to, the best tip I do when I'm applying mascara is I always wiggle right from the root of the lash, just to tease the lashes upwards. And then once I've got the depth on, you know, really, if you think about mascara, you want all of the depth to be at the root. And then you want to comb the mascara through to get the elongation. Uber Volume Boost Mascara is the one we're using. So a good wiggle. And you'll find that with this mascara, it has like almost like a peanut shaped brush, you know, it has a little dip in the center, which helps you to really, you know, hug the lash line. And I'm also going to pass over to Jess with this mascara one because Jess loves a mascara.
I'm just going to use.
Yeah, you can use a little mirror. So I'm sure Jess has got some mascara tips for you as well.
Okay, so again, like James, I'm just going to go from the root and then give it a wiggle. And then I like to fan my lashes out, so some more this way.
See, Jess is a lot more heavy-handed than I am because I think when you're doing your own mascara, you know, when I'm working with clients and models, I'll often say, do you want to do your own mascara?
Yeah.
Because you can get in there and you can really kind of fan your lashes out. So you like to comb them first, Jess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think nobody can do your mascara how you can do your own mascara, just because you're more comfortable around the eye area. I do think you're good at mascara.
Thanks. I always find it really, oh, somebody's asking best one for hazel eyes. Best one for hazel eyes. I've got quite like hazelish eyes. I would go rose gold because it has that kind of pinky tone, which is super pretty. Jess has got the most chocolate brown eyes, and I feel like she's kind of rocking both really. But also the silver tone on hazel eyes, because it has that cool undertone, will be gorgeous.
And green too.
Green too, yeah. You know, hazel to green, the silver is amazing. But again,
I think they look good on everyone, all three.
Same. I know that's such an easy thing to say. Oh, they're great for everybody.
Or maybe it's just what you're drawn to more.
Yeah, do you know, thinking about your eye color, but also think about like what you're wearing on your cheeks, what you're wearing on your lips. Like think about the eyeshadows as like a whole wardrobe application. But definitely try the silver, and the rose gold will be really, really gorgeous.
No.
That's all right. We'll get it.
I'm also a big fan of the Beauty Bar mascara.
Okay, Jess, what are you loving about it? Because I love the brush, but I think
I'm loving the brush. I'm loving the consistency of the product. You know, it's not just like you're brushing it through your lashes. It's actually, you can see the thickness of it sticking, so it's really volumizing them.
You know, I think it's with mascaras, you know, I feel like it's such a personal choice. I know whenever, you know, from knowing Jess and chatting about makeup for so many years, I know that she likes her lashes to look thick but separated. And I feel like that's generally like, you know, what you want from a mascara, like definitely thick, but also the ability to be able to kind of fan them out as well.
Yeah, and I do like to have quite a chunky lash.
You like a lot of mascara.
Yeah, I do. But this mascara, yeah, I'm a big fan.
So I feel like, you know, since we launched the eyeshadow palettes, I mean, they've never left my makeup kit. And I've just been so blown away by all of the incredible feedback, you know, from makeup artists, but also people who just love to do makeup. It's such, and I know the Beauty Pie community is such like a friendly community where everybody chats and shares tips and tricks. And I've literally been, every day I get tagged in so many gorgeous Beauty Pie James Molloy makeup eyeshadow palettes. So thank you guys for sharing everything, and I'm so thrilled with how it's going, and I'm just so really happy that everybody loves them.
Yeah, me too.
You know, and hopefully tonight on our masterclass, you've been able to learn some tips and tricks, be inspired. I think that's what we always like to do. You know, inspire people to try something new, or even, you know, just to revisit eyeshadow for the first time. You know, perhaps you've kind of gone away from shadow for a little bit, but hopefully with this masterclass, you've been re-inspired, and I'm just super happy that finally have my first collaboration. And
For a couple of questions.
Yeah, fire away. Absolutely.
Quick 5 questions. Favorite palette for day?
Okay, favorite palette for day. Great question. I'm going to go gold, just because, you know, with the gold palette, you can literally wear just one shade. If you need to, you can get away with this, wrap it around your eyelid, blend it in, blah, 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 mascara, boom, out the door. And I know that when you've got like kids, sometimes you need to get ready in 2 minutes.
And that is a great colour.
Gold, yeah, gold for on the go, and definitely for summertime.
Favorite palette for night?
Ooh, favorite palette for night. I'm going to go silver, you know, with the silver palette, because, you know, if you want to go a little bit more glam, you could wear this white shade all over, and then like a black eyeliner, super chic, wear it with a red lip. It would look
Amazing.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
Which you've done that already. How do you choose between the palettes for different skin tones?
How to choose between the palettes for different skin tones? Well, as I've kind of said throughout the masterclass, they really are universal. Perhaps if you're, you know, of a like super dark, like a super deep, rich, gorgeous skin tone, then you might want to sway more towards the gold. There is a shade in the gold which, you know, worn on its own is such a beautiful all over the kind of neutral shade on a really deep skin tone. So this tone here, on a deep skin tone, looks like honey. It's so pretty. But again, if you're super fair, you might want to try the rose gold, because with exactly with Jess is wearing this kind of light pink shade all over on a super fair skin, like redheads, this is gorgeous.
Okay, quick one to wrap it up. Describe each palette in just 3 words.
Oh my gosh, guys, describe each palette in just 3 words. Luxurious, sunshine, happy.
Okay, that's the gold palette.
Silver, seductive, minky, expensive.
Yes, I like it.
And the rose gold, ooh, I feel like it's ballet slipper, it's Oh God, did I say
Oh,
springtime
party,
already?
I know.
Party.
Yeah, I like a party.
Ballet party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spring ballet
This is
party.
the ballet party.
Ballet party. There you go.
That's it, those guys.
Well, listen, guys, thank you so much for sharing this evening with us. We've had literally the best time.
Yeah.
I need to go off now and even Jess up because she's off out. Is
Well,
she going
I'm
to be
now.
silver or are you going to go gold?
I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
go ballet
you're gonna-
party.
Ballet party. And as always, guys, thank you so much for all the love that I constantly get on Instagram and right back at you. Can't ask for more. And thanks for joining. And hopefully you've learned something new. Catch up soon.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.